Yeah, and I think, this I'm not sure of, but once they take their lines and equipment off the poles, then FPL will just come and take the pole down. They're anxious to do that.
Here's the other problem. It says there are two bills that have been filed, House and Senate bill, and heard in a committee. Session's over in a couple of
3 weeks.
weeks. If this is as far as those two bills got, they're probably already dead, frankly. Right now, they're working on budget. I'm happy to support this. I think it's too little, too late. Frankly, as a lawmaker, I used to laugh when people would send me a paper letter with a stamp and an envelope and got there 3 days after we already voted on the issue. You know, sometimes it would, I think they're running a little behind the train on this, but happy to support it.
Okay, and you may be right in all those instances, but we got this a short time ago, very short time ago, and Rob jumped on it. So, can I
Mr.
get a?
Chair,
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, you're on the board.
Move authorizing chair to send this to our delegation.
Okay, so we have a second for that? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and that moves forward 5-0. The next one is a bit of a different one. I've been asked by a number of people in the community over a certain period of time. Direct material purchases. That is a mechanism that currently the Sarasota School Board, the Manatee School Board, a lot of churches, and many nonprofits use. I'll give you the simplified version, and I've also set up some meetings internally. The simplified version, we have an RFP, we select to build a power plant, sewer plant. That contractor who wins the proposal goes out, hires subcontractors, and they begin building it. There are material purchases where they would like to use the ability of the county to not pay sales tax. So what would occur is, and I'm going to give you a simplistic, this is not the level that we're going to be doing this. We can put a threshold of, has to be at least $10,000 or at least $20,000. We'll need something brought back to us pretty expeditiously. But the steel contractor, the steel subcontractor on one of the buildings we're building says, I'm buying a $100 piece of steel, so I'm going to send you, the county, a change order to our big contract for $106. And then you're going to issue me a $100 new change order, and we save the $6. Now, that's so simplistic, I might have been simple-minded to even say it that way, but on every $1 million, it's $60,000. We have some big things happening right now. The sewer plant, the medical examiner's building, fire station on Bee Ridge, fire station on Siesta. In so many of these instances, we've missed out. And, you know, quite frankly, if in a year we do this on $2 or $3 million worth of projects, where we do the direct material purchases, that's on 2 million, it's 120,000. On 3 million, it's 180,000. And I watch us micromanage things of a lot less money than that. And why would we do it? Why in the world would we pay sales tax when we're allowed to use our exemption and not pay it? So, at the very least, of course I want to hear what you have to say, but at the very least, I would like a motion to make this an assignment for Jonathan to bring back to us. But Jonathan, here's where I get a little nervous. These big projects are teeing up, and all the other buildings you want to build, you blame me that I want to build them, but there is going to be a lot of stuff that's, I mean, take the medical examiner's building. I mean, all those freezers, all that specialty equipment, the firehouses, all the structural steel that goes in those, and the roof Jonathan, I'm going to expose one of our private conversations. You have some experience with this, please?
Yes, sir, quite a bit.
Can you elaborate at all, or is that?
Yeah, I mean, in my past, and the county does have a policy on it, but the county attorney's office has been working with staff and got to re-engage the clerk's office as well. But there is a draft ordinance that they've been working on. Relatively new attorney to the county attorney's office, also has a lot of experience on it when he was with the city of Tampa, I believe. But when I was building a wastewater plant with another organization, I'm sorry, it was a water plant. We used all the pumps, all the variable control pumps, the big motors. As the company that was constructing it, we bought those. So the dollar threshold does matter because there's a cost to the clerk's office to process it as well. So balancing that out. So Chair, I'm glad you mentioned that part because it is a key point of it. But I think this is something we can bring it up back to the board very, very quickly, sir. And we do use it. I think, for example, in the medical exam, don't quote me on the number, I'll get you the actual number. I think there is a piece of it, 500,000 or so, that we are using it in there, I believe. But I think there is opportunity to maximize it more, Chair.
Well, Commissioner Dieter, 1 minute, and I'm happy to hear that. And Rick, we got so much just starting as quickly and as appropriately as possible, but as quickly as possible, so we can take advantage of this. And I took the liberty, because Nicole sits here, and I just brought her into the loop before the meeting, because it's sitting here on our agenda, and said, all of us, you all for sure, me, the commission, are perfectly willing to engage the clerk's staff. Commissioner Dieter.
I see the beauty of it, but it would have to be very confined and not able to be expanded. Your example of medical examiner's office, all of these are sensible ideas. But then I can see step 2. This is where you come up with a good idea and then somebody expands it. You could have developers saying, well, shouldn't I be tax exempt because I'm just passing it on to the borrower? It's a savings. I mean, we'd have to be very specific and maybe and limited to governmental.
I can assure the board that what we would bring
Oh,
back
yeah.
is limited to our purchases.
And that's all I'm
Things
talking
that people
about.
are doing on our behalf.
But they're doing lots of things on our behalf. We have a lot of vendors. We have a lot of, it just depends on who's looking at it and how they're looking at it. So I would say to a limited extent and very, very explicit, I would support it.
Well,
So at this point, I would support the staff coming back to something to us, knowing what it is that we're looking for.
and thank you for that, but I will tell you that there's no developer or contractor that's going to use our sales tax exemption on anything they're doing for people that they're building houses or office buildings for. That'll be the first restriction, and I don't even think they can use our sales tax waiver. And thank you for just, and thank you for saying all that, because Nicole was about to write it all down to add to her list of fears. Anything else? All right, on that, do you need a motion, or does,
A motion on the formal board assignment would just, to bring back a board assignment would be fine, Chair.
okay.
I already kind of made that
Yes,
motion.
you did. Do we have a second? I'll second that motion, since I'm the culprit here. The next thing is, I think you all should have been given a copy. I'm calling it the Mayo Ziegler email. I know staff wants to bring it up, and it's a lesson for all of us. Fortunately, nothing happened. But Jonathan, why don't you work your way through this with us?
Yeah, I just think it's the example of constant vigilance and in this day and age where you know, there's so many opportunities for whether it's cybersecurity attacks or social engineering where people are working their ways into things. You know, an email from one person looks like it's from that person, it's not from that person. And in this particular case, if I could cite the actual example,
Yes,
Chair,
please.
an email that looked like it was coming from you to Commissioner Ziegler. Fortunately, Commissioner Ziegler caught on right away, sent it to Glenn Zimmerman, our IT director, making it seem like you were asking for his help with a very sensitive matter.
While I was in the hospital.
While you were in the hospital, yes. And so, fortunately, again, the Commissioner Ziegler's diligence, we try very hard on staff. We're not perfect. We encourage staff and we do training on staff on how to watch for these things. But any organization, we are constantly bombarded. All counties, all cities are constantly bombarded with threats. It's just another example where not just our employees, but you all as a board, our constitutionals, all have to be very careful about this and the vigilance. And if you read this actual one, it certainly seemed like they were trying to do something untoward, Chairman. So the person who was sending it. So.
Oh, yeah, the fool that sent this just came up with a new Gmail account using, and it comes back. It went to Commissioner Ziegler as Alan Mayo, but it went to him. I don't even know it's happening, but it was an attempt to catch, I think, Commissioner Ziegler and I in something unsavory, unethical in my supposed hospital bed, but I don't know what their intent was, but it wasn't a good intent. And Glenn's, and I just didn't realize this. You're the guy that knows this. You can set up a Gmail account using my name and a phony account number, and even if we ask the sheriff's department, apparently they can't tell who set up the account, because when you set up the account, you don't have to give them much information. Is that even possible in this world? Wow.
And we did talk to the sheriff's office chair about this one specifically. So.
Okay, thank you very much. You got anything